Internet. We are back with question 2 of our Q&A series. And this comes from Jenny Posthumus on Facebook, who asked, what is your favorite tabletop game? And Jenny, you probably thought it was an innocent question, but you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
No, it's not quite that simple. So to answer that question, I think that the best thing that I should do is start from where I came from, and then kind of end where I'm at right now and the multiple games that I'm at right now. So I used to be really into Warhammer 40K. I collected multiple armies. I converted the models myself. I painted them myself.
We gotta show them Smiley.
Well, Smiley is on the website already.
Smiley is.
So all those old pictures of my old Warhammer 40K armies are actually on the website already.
I'm gonna get Smiley and edit him in.
Okay,
he's worth
all right.
it.
Smiley has guns for teeth.
This is Smiley, you guys. Isn't he adorable? Mm-hmm.
That came from a lot of green stuff and spare parts, and I made a demon out of it.
Mm. He's a cute demon, though. I mean, cute and terrifying, but
no.
I think he's adorable.
Okay, so and also around the time I was also playing Warmachine, particularly the Crix faction. So, but one of the things that made me step away from those two games was how labor intensive they can be in terms of...
Yeah, they're not for lazy people.
Right, I mean,
I tried Warmachine for like a month, and that's about as long as I stuck with it. It was fun, but I'm a lazy gamer, so...
And for me, it was kind of the question of, where do I spend, my time? And the less time that I spend in preparing for a hobby like that, the more time I spend on my writing.
Yeah, Warhammer is like more of a commitment than our marriage. It's so work intensive.
And it's not like when I play one of those games, it's not like I want to pay someone to assemble the models for me or paint them for me. I've never fielded one of those tabletop armies that I hadn't prepared myself. So I started gravitating towards other gaming systems, things that required less prep time, ahead of actually playing. And a friend of ours, Steve.
I don't remember Steve. I feel really bad. Sorry, Steve.
You named a hall after him in the Wizard Circus, I think.
I did? Oh yeah, I remember you now, Steve. Hi, Steve.
You Tuckerized his name, Heather.
I don't call him Steve. I call him Steven. There is a difference.
Okay. Anyway, so he introduced me to a wonderful game by Fantasy Flight Games called XWing Miniatures.
You're going to hear a lot about Fantasy Flight Games, by the way.
And I really enjoyed it. And then I picked up another Fantasy Flight Games game.
And then you picked up another.
And then I picked up another. So there's actually 3 games that we're going to talk about. Why either I play them or, in one case, we play.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to jump to the first game now.
So the first subject of Jacob's immense gaming interests is Star Wars Armada.
That's not this game.
Star Wars X-Wing!
X-Wing!
Yeah! I got it on the second try, and as you can tell, I know next to nothing about this game, so I'm going to ask you questions, and you are going to attempt to explain it to me, even though you've talked to me about it at bed like many times, and I've just been like, yay, numbers, I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
So, first question is, why X-Wing? What makes it so great?
All right, so one of the things that Fantasy Flight Games does really well is they'll build very kind of simple core mechanics into the system, and then little variations of that core mechanic provide kind of a wide variety of results. Mm-hmm. So the example that you can see really well in X-Wing is the maneuvering dial. So every ship gets a maneuvering dial, and there are different kinds of moves that that ship has that other ships may not have.
All right.
And so you don't just have, the stats, how durable it is, how hard it hits, what, the ways it can fire, what upgrades it can take, but also how it fundamentally flies.
Okay, cool.
And so by changing those, the numbers on, the stat card, the available upgrades, and also the maneuvers available to like new craft that they released, they can really provide, with just subtle changes, product that feels very different. And one of the things that's really cool about this game is that it is easy to learn and is very challenging to master.
Easy to learn.
It is easy to learn. It's an easy game to pick up. It is not an easy game to master.
Mm-hmm. It's like chess, but in space and with explosions and more than...
I suppose that's somewhere in the realm of a good analogy.
It's nerd chess. Nerdier chess.
Well, I think you can kind of say that about any tabletop
this
game.
is true.
It's
Sort
of a nerd chess.
Yeah. What's your favorite piece? Your favorite ship to play?
All right. So I have here a selection of pieces that I play, and I have this is just a small sampling of my collection, which you've seen.
Oh yeah.
And of the ones that I've played extensively, I have to say that my favorite is
Gotta hold it up to the camera, dude.
Okay. Is the TIE Bomber. Now
TIE Bomber.
That may not be one that a lot of the hardcore gamers would immediately gravitate to, but I play Imperials exclusively as a faction.
Why Imperials?
Well, they're cooler, and they're cooler than the scum, and they're cooler than rebel scum. And it's just an aspect of the Star Wars universe that I've kind of gravitated towards.
Is there a difference in gameplay between Rebels and Imperial, or is it?
Well, I mean, each faction gets different ships, and there are unique pilots for each of the ships, and there are also unique upgrades that some factions have that others don't. There are also sort of underlying core mechanics that are more prevalent in one faction versus another, and that's actually something that FFG is going to be kind of just reading about the second edition coming out is something they're going to be bringing out more, is these kind of the core flavor of a given faction. And one of the core flavors is the TIE Swarm. You're the one doing it. That is not the sound effect.
Nothing makes sound in space, Jacob. I'm just making up junk.
Okay, well,
there it is. You make the sound effect, Jacob.
I am not going to try to make a TIE Fighter sound effect.
Don't judge then.
Okay. But so the aesthetic of the faction is something that I really like. I really like the look of the TIE Fighters. And the lore behind it, the Empire, they're the bad guys, they're in power. I kind of gravitate towards the villains in the various tabletop games that I play. But in terms of ships that are just like my absolute favorite in the Star Wars universe, that would have to be the assault gunboat.
Ooh, do tell.
The assault gunboat is my absolute favorite.
What sound does this make?
I don't think it doesn't make the TIE Fighters roar.
Okay.
I think it is probably just a regular space swoosh that it makes.
Well, that's
when
I
it
didn't want to
goes.
make it crash. It is kind of cool looking.
It's
I'll put it there. It'd be nice.
So back in my PC gamer days.
Ooh, back in the day.
Well, I was into a lot of the space flight sims, and so one of them was XWing. And you're playing X-Wing, and you're playing in X-Wings, Y-Wings, and A-Wings, and you're blowing up TIE Fighters. And they're basically flying confetti. And they're just throwing waves and waves and waves of these things at you, and you're going through the missions. And then you get to encounter the assault gunboat. Mm-hmm. And these things are tough, they're maneuverable, they're not really all that fast, but they've got missiles, they got ion cannons, and they're just a really cool workhorse.
Uh-huh.
They have hyperdrives, which the TIEs do not. And so then when I play TIE Fighter, and I actually, you're flying around in the TIE Fighter, and you're in the confetti, you're in the flying confetti, and they still, explode after a few hits. And then you get your first taste of the assault gunboat. It's like, oh, I got shields. This is great.
Every time I see a TIE fighter get blown up now, I'm just going to picture confetti popping out, like that one Halo mod.
Oh, the grunt happy birthday skull? Yeah. It's kind of like that. You blow up a TIE fighter, yay! A little confetti goes everywhere. And that's one of the, another cool thing that FFG did is they came out with the assault gunboat, which is my favorite ship in Star Wars, and so unlike some of the other ones that I normally buy 2 of them, I got 4 of these.
Ooh,
so that I can have a whole force of assault gunboats. Now, from a rules standpoint, the assault gunboat is really interesting for some of the same reasons that the TIE bomber is really interesting. Is that it has a lot of upgrade slots. So there's a lot of flexibility that you can kind of build into it in terms of how do you want a particular craft to perform? What kind of ordnance are you equipping it with? And the assault gunboat also has cannon upgrades that it can take. So there's a lot of variety to the different build options. Right. Whereas with a TIE fighter, you've pretty much got a TIE fighter. You have the different pilots
and no other fun party stuff.
Well, you have the different pilots that you can field in the game, and they have pilot talents that elite skills, elite talents that they can take. But that's pretty much it. There's a few other things that can take modifications if you really want to, which you normally don't with a TIE fighter. But the options available for the TIE bomber and the assault gunboat make them my favorites.
Oh. Have we talked about all the ships? I know I've made 3 noises at least.
Oh, that's fine. I don't think we need to. I have more. I have a lot more. We could go through the whole collection, but I think we're just getting a little taste of why I enjoy this.
It's him that enjoys it. I just look at the pretty models and make up names for them. Like what is it? What's the one I call the pizza? No, that's not even X-Wing, is it?
No, that's the other game.
We'll
that's
talk about the game we're about next time.
That's the game we're about to get to.
Okay, so one more question. You got a bunch of things with numbers on them in front of me. What are these?
So those are your. These are for maneuvering.
There's a lot of things.
So you have on the maneuvering dial, you have the different options available, and then you have these cutouts that you lay in front. You slot into the guides, and then those determine
where you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. That makes this game sound a lot easier now that you have these little nice visuals.
Well, I told you it's. See, you gotta try it out.
I know.
It's easy to pick up.
I will one day. Maybe it's
just hard to master. But it's easy to pick up.
Now you've also got a whole bunch of cards in front of me. What are they? They have cool art on them. I like them. And stuff exploding.
Well, those are the stats for the different ships.
Okay.
And
here's what the stat cards look like. I keep going the wrong direction. Ta-da! It's a stat card.
And so you pick them out when you're building your force.
Nice.
And some of the
and you can choose different cards. Like each ship has different cards associated with it that you can customize it with.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, this sounds pretty cool now.
Well, it is.
Well, I know it's cool, but
that's one of the reasons I play it because it's a really cool game. Haven't I been telling you this?
Yes, repeatedly for most of our marriage.
Shall we go to the next game?
Yes, we shall.
Okay, we'll be back in a few.
So, hold it, we're off center. I'm off center. No, wait, okay. So, the first, I lost it.
Are you recording right now?
Yeah, I'm recording. But
The red light.
That's what the little red light means, Tickle.
The little red light. Okay. I guess we're starting again.
We're starting again. All right. Am I supposed to start?
Yes.
Look at the camera first, dude. Pretend there.
I'm looking at it.
Okay. All right.
There's that little green dot. Looking at the little green dot. I'm I'm looking at the rest of the internet through the little green dot. The first game is X-Wing Miniatures.
Yes, the first subject of Jacob's gaming obsession is...
Obsession?
Okay, obsession's too strong a word, but you are nerds. So.
Well, I like anything where numbers and probability are involved.
Well, there's plenty of numbers and probability in this.
That is true. So the little green light is where I look. The little red light means I'm being recorded.
And this little red light is blue.
That little red light is red.
That little red light is on blue. The microphone. You're a genius, Jacob. You can figure out context clues.
I make no claim that I would.
Everyone who knows him makes a claim that he's a genius, so.
I make no claim.
Talk about your game, Jacob.
You named your microphone.
Its name is on there. Its name, here, internet. Its name is blue. There you go.
I simply requested clarification that you named your microphone after a dinosaur.
Well, why wouldn't I name anything after a dinosaur?
I really don't have an answer to that question.
Alright, sound test. This is the voice at which I'm going to be speaking. Hello, computer. Say a thing, Jacob.
I think I've already said enough at this point. And so we are letting Nova do whatever she wants during. I don't know if this is a plan for success, Heather.
As long as she doesn't rip up the green screen.
Okay. I guess we will go with the flow. We'll just see what happens.
I guess at some point we should start acting less serious, people.
I don't know if I've ever done that.